Hello and welcome back to Tarot Tuesday. I'm Amy the Medium, and today we're going to take a closer look at another deck. The deck this week is the Steampunk Tarot. This is a deck that you can find at almost any retailer. They sell it on Amazon, they sell it at Barnes & Noble, they sell it in metaphysical stores. The deck itself comes with a guidebook, and I will say for my part, most decks, if they come with a guidebook, I just throw that book right out because I'm going to work with the deck however I see fit. That said, the guidebook for this deck is so good at telling the story that this is one of the guidebooks that I kept, and I love looking at it and referring to it whenever I feel like I want to take a deeper dive into the tarot. I love the way that the author of this deck has written that book. And when I speak to the author of this deck, the deck is created by Barbara Moore and the illustrations are by Ali Fell. This deck itself came out in 2012. That was around a time where steampunk was really, really big. And what steampunk is, for those who don't know, is sort of a combination of the past as well as the future. You'll see a lot of clocks and clockwork combined with futuristic applications. So without further ado, let's dive into this deck. First thing about these cards, which is so beautiful, is the back of the cards themselves. They show not only the epitome of what the tarot is with the 4 suits, but also you'll see that clockwork, you'll see the brass colorings, which is very iconic in the steampunk community. Now, as for the front of the cards, I'll put a couple of them out here. You've got these black borders with this absolutely gorgeous artwork. What you'll notice about these cards is the people that are on the cards are dressed in almost Victorian fashion. And again, this is very indicative of the steampunk community. The steam part of steampunk has to do with the steam engine. So it's about late 1800s, early 1900s, turn of the century industrial revolution. And so what you'll see here is the way that people are dressed is indicative of that time and that style. But additionally, what you'll see are things like this, a flying machine. Now this does look very turn of the century when flying machines started to become popular, but this is sort of a fantasy futuristic take on what that would be. Now, something that I really like about this deck is it is based off the Rider-Waite original artwork. So if you look at the 3 of Swords here, you can see that it calls back to the artwork that Pamela Coleman Smith created for that deck. Every piece of art here is based in the Rider-Waite tradition. The author has clearly taken some liberties. So in the case of the Knight of Wands, you'll see that this is a female that is our knight. There aren't a lot of women in the tarot historically, and so it would make sense for this deck that you would include a lot more female representation. The cards themselves communicate so much just on their own. I especially like the level of detail that the artist has placed into each of the people that appear on the cards. They're full-fledged characters. They have personalities, they have emotions, they have feelings, and you can really see that in the cards themselves. And so I really enjoy reading with this deck. If I do read with this deck, likely the person that I'm reading for has some sort of project. Maybe it's a business, maybe it's a hobby. It's something that they're just getting started on and they're really looking for guidance as to what their next step should be. I found that just generally as a theme when I do readings with this deck, but that's not to say that this deck can only be used for that type of reading. And it's interesting because the artwork here, while it does lean on the themes of the Rider-Waite deck, it does have an air of fantasy and it isn't a very literal deck in itself. And so at times clients can be very confused when they see the artwork of these cards come out. They don't quite understand what it means, and that's why it's important for you as the reader to be able to help guide them through the reading. So that is this week's Tarot Tuesday. I'm always happy to bring you more information about the tarot, more information about decks, and so if there's a specific deck that you want me to take a look at or review, feel free to let me know, and hopefully we'll include it in a future video. Thanks so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.